Instrument panel. Engine coolant temperature gauge. Indicates the temperature of the engine coolant. Indication range, 40 to 120 degrees Celsius. Normal operating range is 40 to 100 degrees Celsius. When the engine coolant temperature exceeds 100 degrees Celsius, the combined warning indicator illuminates. When the gauge needle enters the red warning zone, park the machine in a safe location that allows for inspection. Check the engine cooling fan, drive belt, and radiator coolant level. Resume driving or operation only after the fault has been cleared. Note, when checking the engine cooling fan, belt, and radiator coolant level, take proper precautions against high temperatures to avoid burns. Hour meter. Indicates the total operating time of the machine, measured in hours. The hour meter has a counting range of 0 to 9,999.99 hours. When the engine is started, the hour meter begins counting simultaneously. Oil temperature gauge for torque converter outlet. Normal working temperature is 8110 degrees Celsius. The highest working temperature in a short period cannot exceed 120 degrees Celsius. When the temperature is close to the highest temperature, lower down the engine rotation speed or stop the working and wait the oil temperature lower down to normal. Voltmeter. Indicates the voltage fluctuation range. Indication range, 1832 V. When the voltage drops below 18 V, the combined warning indicator illuminates. Engine oil pressure gauge. Indicates the engine lubricating oil pressure. Indication range, 1.0 MPa. When the oil pressure gauge needle enters the red warning zone, stop the machine immediately and perform an inspection. Do not continue operation or driving until the fault has been eliminated. Brake air pressure gauge. Displays the air pressure of the braking system in real time. Indication range, 1.0 MPa. When the air pressure is lower than 0.4 MPa, the brake will be ineffective. Don't operate the loader until the pressure rises. If the air pressure doesn't increase, stop the loader immediately for inspection. Rocker switch assembly. Front work light switch, controls the switching on and off of the front work lights. Rear work light switch, controls the switching on and off of the rear work lights. Heater switch, controls the on-off circuit of the heating system. Wiper switch, controls the switching on and off of the windshield wiper. Instrument light switch, controls the switching on and off of the instrument panel lights. Air conditioning panel switch, this switch must be turned on before using the air conditioning control panel. Hazard warning switch, controls the emergency warning lights of the loader. The left and right turn indicators flash simultaneously to warn pedestrians. OBD port, loader data diagnostic interface. Gear shift lever. The gear shift lever is located at the lower left of the steering wheel and controls forward, neutral, and reverse movement of the machine. A high/low range selector lever for the transmission is provided on the left side of the seat. Pushing the selector lever forward engages the low speed range. Then move the lever under the steering wheel to positions 2, 1, or R. These positions correspond to second forward gear, first forward gear, and first reverse gear, respectively. Pulling the selector lever backward engages the high-speed range. Then move the lever under the steering wheel to positions 2, 1, or R. These positions correspond to fourth forward gear, third forward gear, and second reverse gear, respectively. In all cases, when the lever under the steering wheel is in the N position, the transmission is in neutral. Note, turning the steering wheel slightly while operating the high/low range selector makes gear engagement easier. parking brake lever. With the engine stopped or idling, pulling up the lever locks the drivetrain to prevent the loader from moving. Lowering the lever releases the lock. Accelerator pedal. It controls the fuel supply quantity to engine. The engine is running at idling speed when the accelerator pedal is not depressed. When the accelerator pedal is stepped on, the engine speed increases as the fuel supply increases. Service brake pedal. The service brake system of this machine is a single pedal, single line system. Depressing the service brake pedal applies braking to both the front and rear drive axles and simultaneously activates the brake light switch, causing the brake lights to illuminate. Releasing the service brake pedal disengages the service brakes. Note, don't use a handbrake while the loader is still traveling except for emergencies. Working equipment control lever. This machine uses a single joystick pilot valve to control the working equipment. When the joystick is in the neutral position, the working equipment does not operate. With the engine running, pulling the joystick backward raises the boom. Returning the joystick to the neutral position stops the boom movement. Pushing the joystick forward lowers the boom. Moving the joystick to the left causes the bucket to roll back. Moving the joystick to the right causes the bucket to dump forward. Small movements of the joystick allow control of the opening of the multi-way control valve ports. Together with engine speed, this enables precise control of the working equipment's movement position and operating speed. When the joystick is pushed fully forward, the boom enters the float mode. To cancel the boom float mode, simply pull the boom control lever back to the neutral position. During leveling operations, pushing the boom control lever into the float position allows the bucket to follow ground undulations, thereby preventing damage to the road surface. Air conditioning control panel controls the fan speed of the air conditioning system. Controls the temperature of the air conditioning cooling mode. Switch between internal circulation or external circulation, spare. Right side rocker switch panel. Rear wiper washer switch. When the engine fault indicator on the right side of the panel lights up, press this switch. The fault type can then be identified by the number of flashes of the engine fault indicator on the instrument panel below the steering wheel. Rear wiper washer switch. Cab roof warning light switch. Engine power mode selector knob. Turn the knob according to working conditions to select among 3 different operating modes for improved fuel efficiency. Engine preheating indicator lamp. 24V power outlet, cigarette lighter / power socket. Check before starting up. Check bucket and loader frame weld joint for cracks. Please pay attention to cracks if any in the upper and lower limit blocks of the bucket. Check oil tube for aging cracks. Check underneath loader for leakage of coolant, oil or water. Look for cracks or bumps on tires and check tire pressure. Low tire pressure leads to insufficient loading capacity and shortened working life. High tire pressure leads to more violent vibration and heavier tire abrasion. Check tire bolts if any loosen happened. Check that the cabin windows are in good condition and clean. Check coolant level. Release internal pressure before opening water tank. Check engine oil level. Confirm whether the engine oil is sufficient. Check the transmission oil level and ensure it is above the dipstick mark. Observe the diesel fuel meter. Check if fuel is sufficient. Use filter screen before refueling and try to fill up the fuel tank to reduce water condensation. Discharge water in air tank. Pull out the drain valve handle installed on the frame to discharge accumulated water. After draining, release the handle and it will return automatically. Notice, if the water in air tank is not discharged as required, brake performance will be impacted or invalidated. Check that operating lever for transmission is in neutral position. Ensure the bucket is in the lowest position on ground. Check the position and cleanness of the rear view mirror. After starting, put in the starting key and turn the key clockwise to connect starter motor and start the engine. Starting time is normally less than 10 seconds. If the engine does not start within 10 seconds, wait for 1 minute and repeat the starting process. If the engine still not started after 5 attempts, look for the cause and try again after troubleshooting. After engine started, gradually press the accelerator to preheat the engine at 1200 RPM and pressurize the air tank. Precautions when starting. When the flywheel of the engine and the starter motor have not completely stopped rotating, do not combine to start again. Otherwise it may damage the starter motor gear and flywheel ring gear. Don't travel at high speed or at full load when the engine water temperature is below 55 degrees Celsius or oil temperature is lower than 45 degrees Celsius, especially in winter. Don't cut off the power switch while the engine is running, otherwise the generator will be damaged. Don't run up the engine at a low RPM for a long time. In cold regions, it's necessary to preheat hydraulic oil after starting up the engine and repeatedly raise the boom and tip the bucket to warm up the loader. Meanwhile, the engine must not run at high speed. Check the indicator signal for steering lamp. Check the horn honking. Check the color of exhaust gas. Check the steering wheel and inspect the reliability and airtightness of the steering system. Keep the rotation speed of engine is higher than 1000 revolutions per minute to ensure the steering performance. Check the lighting system. Traveling. Release the parking brake and operate the control lever to raise the bucket 40 cm above the ground. The wheel loader 937H adopts hydraulic transmission shift mechanism. Parking is not required when changing the speed stage, while shifting from low speed to high speed. In order to shift gears smoothly and reduce the shock, speed up the loader first, then slightly release the accelerator when pushing the lever. On the contrary, while shifting from high speed to low speed, lower down the speed first, then press the accelerator when pulling the lever. Do press the brake pedal before the loader changes the direction to move forward or reverse and release the brake after changing the direction. Otherwise the transmission system will be severely impacted or the clutch will be burnt out. Loader operation. While working with bucket, the loader should straightly insert into the materials at speed level 1 other than rushing into the materials at high speed by the force of inertia. Excavation and loading work. Lower the bucket as close as practical to the ground and create a 3° 5° angle between the bottom of bucket and the ground. Pull the operating lever to the middle position and move towards the materials to be loaded at speed level 1. When the bucket is inserted into the material pile, the boom operating lever can be pulled to the lifting position. At this time, increase the throttle to continue cutting into the material pile. At the same time, the dump operating lever can be quickly moved left and right, so that the bucket can be filled with materials as much as possible. After the bucket is fully loaded, the operating lever returns to the neutral position, and the reverse gear is used to make the loader quickly withdraw backwards. If the transporting distance is long, operate the boom to lower the bucket to about 350 mm from the ground, so that the machine has the best stability. If the truck to be filled is nearby, you can continue to operate the bucket to raise it to a proper unloading height when the loader exits the material pile. Transporting work. The wheel loader can perform transporting work in following conditions. When the road surface is too soft and the site is uneven and trucks cannot enter the stacking site. The transporting distance is within 500 m and it is a waste of time for driving a truck. During transporting process, tilt the bucket to the upper extreme position and maintain the bucket at the position of 350 mm above the ground. Loading materials to truck. Raise the loader boom so that the bucket is higher than the truck. Approach the truck at speed level 1. Tread down the brake pedal when the bucket entering the unloading area. Push the control lever to the right to slowly unload the material into the truck bed. If materials stick to the bucket, pull the bucket control lever left and right to slightly shake the bucket to dump out remaining materials. Pull back the bucket. The loader exits backwards, lower down the boom and start a second excavation and loading work. Notice: when dumping the material at a high position, don't lift the arms without tipping the bucket, so as to avoid the piston rod being pulled out from the cylinder. After materials have been discharged and before the loader changes the driving direction from backward to forward, depress the brake first to prevent impacts to the transmission clutch. Shut down the loader. Reduce the engine speed and depress the brake pedal to parking the loader. Push the operating lever to neutral position. Release the brake pedal and pull up the hand brake lever. Reduce the engine speed to 800-1000 rpm. Keep it idling for 3-5 minutes and gradually cool the engine. Lay the working device flat on the ground and return all the operating levers to neutral position. Rotate the key to off position to shut down the engine. Turn off the mains power switch to cut off the power. Long-term storage. Clean the entire machine and allow it to dry thoroughly. Lubricate all pins and apply a thin layer of grease to the exposed piston rods of the hydraulic cylinders. Remove the battery and store it separately. Start the machine once a month and operate all systems to keep them in working condition.